Welcome, everyone, to day 200. It's been 200 days of code, and today we have a guest that's finally here again with us live. Leon Andersen, how are you doing?
Hello. It's great to be in the live stream once again as I'm seeing you're editing the banner. I'm not a virtual Leon today. Yes, Leon Andersen, still with a robot head, but
That's just
yeah,
because you're so good at talking to machines, no?
exactly. Yeah, I prepared some of the JavaScript cards. I didn't find like too puzzling kind of things, but I thought it might be interesting to go through some. Might sound a bit like noob questions as well in between, but I don't care. Um, do you see my shared screen?
Yes.
Okay. So where was the first one? Okay. Are you sharing it already?
Yes.
Okay. So we have this card here, and the main thing is that this is throwing an error because it's not defined. But the thing is, I'm a bit confused that this gets caught by the try catch because this isn't, as far as I know, this is a it's not a runtime error, but a parsing error basically. Um, as far as I understand it, because there was somewhere in all those 800 cards, there's also another card with a try catch where also something isn't defined, and that card says try catch doesn't catch parsing errors. It catches runtime errors. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but this will only blow up at runtime.
Okay. Because it's on the right hand side, or I mean, if
Yes.
okay. Okay, I guess to fully understand it, I just have to keep reading in the second book of You Don't Know JS. Or is there like a short, yeah, I don't know. Okay, at least I know that this is directionally that this card is probably correct. That
Yeah,
there's
it
not.
is.
Let me see if I can find. Um, where is that? Yeah, the try catch block handles runtime errors, not parse time errors. Okay, this is like way more fucked up stuff that they wrote here, like weird curly braces. But I don't know, like unexpected token. So why is the JSON? I think it's just few up. It's exactly one upwards. Why is this one not a parsing error?
because it's technically valid JavaScript. It's just that the variable is not defined. But it's syntactically correct. It's just logically incorrect.
Okay. Yeah, then I have to really make sure to know the differences between what are runtime errors and what are parsing errors. I have to get more clear about the actual differences between those. Okay. Good. Then I know where to go next. Yeah, then just a quick clarification here with this generator function. This x is a different x than this one, right? Because we're basically using this next method here, calling it with an argument that gets put into this x, and this has nothing to do with this variable then, right? They just
No, it is that variable. Because what you're putting in to the next function gets put into that x. So the yield kind of spits it out at the left-hand side and puts it into the variable.
The yield on the left-hand side?
The yield kind of takes in that value that you pass in into the next and puts it to what is on the left-hand side of it. And since we have a variable declaration there, the x gets that value.
But this g.next method is going to this line, right? It's not like this line is already worked through with this first one.
No, not the left-hand side of the yield. Only the right-hand side.
Okay, so this one is triggering this, the right-hand side?
Yes.
And then we are triggering, with this one, we're triggering this one and the left-hand side at the same time?
Yeah, technically speaking, you're triggering everything from the left-hand side of the last yield until everything from the right-hand side of the next yield.
Can you repeat that?
Yes. So the second next call triggers all of the code on the left-hand side of the last yield, in between the last yield and the next yield, and on the right-hand side of the next yield.
But the last yield has no left-hand side.
Of course, you're highlighting it. That works. Oh yeah, no, yeah, it doesn't need to. But if there's nothing, then there's nothing. That's fine.
I don't get what you mean. I mean, the whole left-hand side, right-hand side details. I briefly scanned over that just in the second book. So it's basically, I just know that there's something to be looked at, but I have no idea about left-hand side, right-hand side, to be honest, except that, you know, this is left, this is right, but there are some more nuances as far as I know.
I mean, that's exactly it.
But like you said that the second next triggers the left-hand side of the last yield.
Yeah, and the last, last yield as in the last yield that was running. So the first yield in that code block.
Got it.
Sorry, I should have been more precise, but I wanted to make it relative to any next. That's why I expressed it with last and next yield. And you took it as last yield in that code block, but it's basically in between the first yield and the second yield.
Okay. So now that I know what you mean with the next, can you repeat again?
Of course. So any next call triggers all of the code of the last yield between the last yield and the next yield, and to the right-hand side of the next yield.
But not to the left-hand side of the last yield, right?
Yeah, that was the first thing I said. So left-hand side of last yield, everything between last yield and next yield, and right-hand side of next yield. And if the right-hand side of the next yield is an expression, then that's what's being returned into the value property.
Okay. These are more. These are these important for what was it again? You said generator functions or iterators are important for something, right? What was it?
They're both related, but this is important for something called Redux Saga.
Yes, that's what I meant. Yeah.
Yes, that's important for that.
Okay. So how is the exact flow here? Why? So if I'm calling this second next, how does the generator function know that the first one has already been called? Where is that stored?
That's on the inside of JavaScript that has to do with symbols and stuff like that. And in you don't know JS, it is explained in detail. That's not something that you necessarily have to memorize. You just have to memorize how to use it.
Okay, so I just take for granted now that this one is basically it's somewhere it is safe that this one is already worked through when we call this one.
Yeah, that's the main point of generators. So generators are streams, and streams is just data over time, right? An array is a collection of data, and a stream is data over time. And generators are pull streams, and pull references to the fact that you as a developer pull the data out of the generator. And the pulling is basically, in this case, using next, because you decide when you want to get that next value and when that next piece of code should be executed. So generators are lazy, generators are pull streams.
Could you build something similar with an array?
No, because when you, for example, map over an array, it's always eager, which means it gets evaluated directly. I don't know from the top of my head anything else in JavaScript that is lazy. I think generators is the only thing that is lazy.
Lazy in terms of it executes one thing and then waits until you ask it for the next?
Yeah, that's basically the definition of lazy, exactly.
Interesting. Okay, so we pull the first next, then we pull the second next. Like, where is the argument of the three? Like, what is the first contact point with the generator function? Does it move into here first, into this bracket, or does it move directly to here, or does it move first here and then here?
I mean, we can try that in code, but code sandbox is for me right now. Or I cannot load it. Otherwise, I would have shown it to you in code. But the best thing to know about generators is just fire up a JavaScript console and start playing around and do a ton of console logs and see what happens.
Okay. Sounds great. Okay, then the next one is... Oh yeah. As far as I see it, there should only be one woof, because feeder.bark got deleted, and then we call feeder.bark. I understand that dog.bark still works because dog is the prototype, But why can why does Fido still have bark even though it's deleted? Like, does it go back? Like, is the bark that's in Fido deleted, but then it still has like a backup bark in its prototype, or how does that work?
Fido does not have a bark. And when you call bark on an object and the property isn't there, then the prototype chain walks up until it finds that method somewhere.
Got
And
it.
delete only tries to delete it from Fido, but there's nothing, so it just passes and nothing happens. And then you call Fido.bark and it walks up the prototype chain until it finds the bark method on the bark object.
Got it. So at first I thought deletes affect the object. So I thought, okay, it deletes it from the object, but affecting the object doesn't mean it finds anything in the object. It
Exactly. Like
only
Fido
searches.
never has a bark method itself. It's always just using the one from the prototype.
That's awesome. Okay, then I can decolor this one. What else do we have? Yeah, this one was annoying. Okay. Copies the references, not the values. Yeah, I basically just had some clarification on this one, that when we concat arrays to a new array and we change something in the array, then in the source arrays, stuff gets changed as well, right?
Please repeat that. I didn't remember that.
Okay, so we have 3 arrays here, right? And we concat them all to a new one. And it copies the references, not the values. So this means, am I understanding it right, that if we delete like something in the first part of the new array, which was originated in, or which is the reference to array 1, if we change something there, then in array 1 the values change as well, right?
I don't think so. I think array concat is immutable and returns a new array.
It copies the references, not the values. Then I don't understand what this means.
I think this is wrong. Because
Okay.
as far as I know, concat is immutable, so the result of this would be a completely new array. And changing that array would not affect array 1, array 2, or array 3.
Okay. Then I look at that sometime else again. Maybe ask ChatGPT. Okay, so this one we have an object with. For some reason, I had in my mind that an object can only have the same key once. Is that?
Yes, that's correct.
So this is like, you can write that, but then only the second one gets used, or?
Yes, the second key overrides the first key.
Okay, so you can write it, but it's basically the same as like it doesn't throw an error, but it still doesn't like this one. I don't know how to.
It's valid syntax, but you might as well never write the first one because it gets overwritten.
Okay. So it's not that you can't use the same key multiple times in an object. It's only that when you do, it overrides.
Yeah, well, language is imprecise here, right? You can't use it. You cannot use it in the sense that it's impossible because the second key always wins, but you can in the sense that it's not a parsing error. It's valid JavaScript, but the second just wins the war for the squad.
Got it. Then what else do we have? We have 5 minutes left. Dun, 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 dun. Anything interesting? Let's look into the green ones. I had some questions here as well. No. Yeah. So I'm wondering why finally is above 1. Like, it also says the finally block executes after any exit from. Like, I don't get it. Like, is that just a mistake, or like?
No. The order of execution is we call func inside of console log. So one is about to be returned, but the rest of the function still executes, which is the finally, but we already have returned the one, but only after the finally is done, the func is really done. And then console log sees the one that has been returned and it's like, okay, now I'm loading mode 2. So console log cannot use the one, even though the one was returned before the finally runs. The console log doesn't get to, execute before func has finished executing. And for func to finish executing, the finally block also has to have run.
But why isn't the finally block queued like after the one? Because it's coming afterwards.
It is. But the one is already being returned and then finally executes, and console.log, but it's not like in the order of synchronicity, it's coming still after the finally block. Like the one is sitting there and console.log wants to already use it, but it has to wait until func is completely done in order to grab the one and then log.
But
You
why
can
does
kind of think of it as the func saying, hey, console log, here, have the one, but do not touch it yet because I still need to do my finally. And then it does its finally, and then it's like, okay, now you go. Now you get to have it.
what if in finally we had another return?
That would override the first return.
What if we had console log 1 and then return 2 in finally?
Then we would see 1, 2 looked out.
So this console log logs earlier than this return can return the one to this console log. I don't know if that makes sense.
Oh, sorry, I was muted. So it executes after the return, but it executes before the outside console log. Because the finally still belongs to func, and func finishes executing before the outside console log is running.
Why
Because
is
think of the logic otherwise, right? Otherwise, first all of the code below would have to run. Like if there were the console log after the last console log, it also would have to run before the finally. And the finally would wait until the whole program finishes before it runs. But that doesn't work. So everything belonging to the func first executes before the rest of the program starts running.
I'll think about this one, and we have to come back to this one. Maybe not. We will see. But I'll flag this one, and then we'll see. But I don't fully get it yet. But that's not a problem. All right. That was fun.
Then thank you everyone for watching. Now we embark on the next 100 days and see where it takes us. This has been day 200 of 200 days of code with
Leon Andersen and my mentor
LF Nil from 10x Dev. Bye.
Always be coding and quacking.